The new Netflix series out of Australia Boy Swallows Universe ends on a violent but relatively happy note. After jumping ahead in time from 1985 to 1989 in the series' final 2 episodes, Eli, Felix Cameron, Zach Burgess, has matured greatly from being the boy who was always picked on at school to rising quickly as one of the staff writers at the regional newspaper. Following the series of traumatic incidents both he and his mostly silent older brother Gus, Lee Tiger Halley, who is also some type of soothsayer, experienced during their upbringing, Eli finally gets his wish of bringing his broken family back together. Based on the beloved best-selling novel of the same name written by Trent Dalton, Boy Swallows Universe weaves in and out of coming-of-age narrative tropes combined with a mysterious web of corruption regarding a heroin distribution operation in 1980s Brisbane. Featuring great performances by Phoebe Tonkin, Brian Brown, Sophie Wilde, Christopher James Baker, and many more, Boy Swallows Universe is a genre-bending miniseries that is glued together by Eli's relentless charm and ambition to life up and repair the broken and corrupt people around him. What happens in Boy Swallows Universe ending? Lyle wraps his arms around Francis, Gus, and Eli Bell in Boy Swallows Universe. At the end of Boy Swallows Universe, newly hired journalist Eli Bell travels with his crush and colleague Caitlin Spies to the residence of Titus Braz, the biggest philanthropist in the area whom Eli suspects of suspicious activity with the hired assassin Ivan Kroll. Suspecting that Titus and Kroll were responsible for his stepfather Lyle's death, Eli secretly tries to get information on Titus that would link him to the murders of Bitch Dang and Tim Cotton. Titus intimidates Caitlin and Eli off his property, but the two journalists wait until Titus leaves to attend the Queensland Champions Award ceremony before investigating his mysterious research facility. After finding Lyle's preserved severed head in the research facility, and escaping Ivan Kroll who intends to kill them, Eli and Caitlin arrive at the Queensland Champions ceremony just as Titus is delivering a speech. Eli runs onto the stage with Lyle's head as evidence that Titus, who specializes in creating mechanical limbs, is developing a human limb farming operation in his own backyard. Titus is arrested but Kroll arrives and stabs both Eli and his father before Gus heroically pushes Kroll off a clock tower, saving Eli's life. Both Eli and his dad recover and the Bell family is happily reunited. What Eli and Caitlin discover in Titus Braz's research facility. Sophie Wilde investigates in Boy Swallows Universe. Eli and Caitlin's curiosity nearly kills them when they break into Titus Braz's research facility, which has several animals trapped in cages for apparently unethical scientific purposes. There are also skeletons of various animals, which as Eli and Caitlin discover, is hardly the worst of it. Eli ventures further into the scientific lab bunker to discover his stepdad Lyle's severed head in a jar preserved in a strange blue liquid along with several other heads. This confirms what Eli had suspected all along about Kroll working for Titus, since he already assumed that Kroll murdered Lyle several years before. Why Eli did that with Lyle's severed head? Older Eli Bell smiles while at the pharmacy in Boy Swallows Universe. Rather than letting the police handle the evidence, knowing that some of them were corrupt, Eli took matters into his own hands and brought Lyle's head to the Queensland Champions ceremony. While it was certainly a bold move, it was also very in character for the spontaneous and blunt Eli, who knew that presenting Lyle's head in front of a crowd would be the only way to bring Titus to justice. Eli had been incredibly, and often dangerously, involved in the corrupt affairs that were going on throughout the series, from trying to break up a violent street fight to seeing his mom in prison. Final hospital scene with Titus and Red Phone explained. Anthony LaPaglia sits at his desk in Boy Swallows Universe. At the very end of Boy Swallows Universe, Titus is seen picking up a scalpel at the hospital and opening up a door before Eli wakes up and sees Caitlin reading the paper. The red phone also rings throughout the brief scene, which is a common theme throughout the Netflix series, but the scene itself is somewhat unclear as to whether Titus was actually there or not. It appears that since Titus was shown to have been thrown in jail based on the front page photo of the paper, Eli was only having a nightmare that he had come to pay him a violent visit at the hospital. How Eli survives despite Gus's Blue Wren prophecy. Lee Tiger Halley points his finger in Boy Swallows Universe. During the opening scenes of Boy Swallows Universe Episode 1, Gus writes with his finger, "Your end is a dead blue wren." Since Gus has the ability to see parts of the future, as displayed through his various drawings and visions throughout the series, Gus predicts that Eli's story will end when a blue wren dies. Ivan Kroll viciously crushes a blue wren with his boot during the climax of the Boy Swallows Universe finale, right before Gus saves his life. While the blue wren was dead, Eli's story, rather than his life, came to an end, which he later wrote down entirely in the show's final scene.